Hello and welcome to another edition of Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 8, Episode 18 for Sunday the 2nd of May 2021. Yes, hello everybody, welcome to the show. It is indeed Sunday once again, and welcome to another episode of Andy's Shed Live. I'm a bit high, just a sec. There, that's a bit more sensible. Yeah, welcome to the show. We are here again. Can you believe it's episode 18? This is the 18th one that we've done since Christmas. Can you believe that? I can't believe it. It just seems amazing to me. Right, we are going to crack on in fine style today, but what I've got to do first, I've got to turn the chat on because I've not turned it on yet. So I know you folks are all chatting away already, but I've not got it up on my phone yet, so I can't see what's going on. Right, here we go. Here we go. Hopefully I shall get some chat in a moment. Yep, there it is. So hello to all the people in the chat. 7 so far. The ones that I can see: Dominic is here, Wesley is here, Jimmy is here. Evening all. How's everybody doing today? Right, so I've got to plug my phone in now. Otherwise, it dies. It doesn't stay charged for long enough. And it's a BlackBerry, you see. And the problem is, I can't get a new BlackBerry yet because there's going to be a new 5G BlackBerry coming out later this year. So I'm kind of making this one last. Why is that not turned round? Come on. Now why has that not spun round like it should do? I'm having trouble. We've not been going long and I'm having trouble with it already. Hang on a sec. Right, it's there. Right, that's better. Right way round now. Right way round now. I can see what's going on. Yeah. What it says, this year is flying by indeed. It says. Dominic says those engines you posted looked quite rusty. Yes, they are, Dominic. The patrons have seen the stationary engines. The rest of the world will be seeing them next week. But basically, 2 stationary engines have appeared at the moment. Basically, they were too cheap to pass up, these vintage single-cylinder stationary engines. And they were relatively near me. They were in Doncaster, so I went and collected them the other day, and hopefully we'll have some pictures of them and that on here probably next week, and stuff. So yeah, stationary engines, two more. I said I wasn't going to buy any more because I've got a garage full of them. So, but. There you go. More and more of them just keep turning up. Right, where are we? I'm just trying to sort out my cameras here today. Right, before we go any further, as we've mentioned Patreon and the fact that the patrons like Dominic see stuff a bit in advance of everybody else. If you'd like to join the patrons, then you can do. The address to do it is patreon.com/AndyShed. Join there for basically what amounts to about £1 a month, although it works it out in American dollars, I believe. But it amounts to about £1 a month. and you will get sneaky early peeks of what we've got coming up on the show, and some other stuff besides. So that's www.patreon.com/Andy Shed, and of course by doing that you're supporting the show and you're letting us do more and more stuff as well if you do that. And the beauty of that also is that when we are doing more and more stuff, sorry, I'm just adjusting the camera again. When we're doing more and more stuff, we can do more and more shows. Wesley says, are they Lister engines? Close, Wesley, they're Petter engines. Those two companies joined up later and became Lister Petter. But before they joined up, they were separate entities, and they are Petter engines. One is an A from probably the 1940s, and the other's an A1 from probably sometime in around about the 1950s. Both in for restoration. Yeah, if you look back on the channel beyond the Andy Shed lives and that, you will find various stuff done at stationary engine rallies, and you'll see some on there as well. Wesley says, how's progress on the potatoes? The potatoes are doing fine, Wesley. They're still growing, not quite big enough to be earthed up yet, but they are still growing. The peas are growing as well now. In fact, everything's growing in the garden. I've been out in the garden filming again this afternoon. So there's going to be another episode in the garden coming up quite soon. Dominic says he's like it with phones like I am with stationary engines. He says he's resisting the temptation so far to get a 746L. He says you won't resist it, Dominic. It'll arrive whether you go for it or not. It'll just arrive. It'll just turn up. That's what they do. They breed. Did you not know? Alright, yes. Talking of phones, we've got one or two still on the side here from last week. So I thought today we'd check some of them out. One of the most interesting ones to check out, because I don't think we did it last week, did we? Is this one. This is a 8782 RX. Basically, it's not quite an RX, because if it was an RX it'd have a button on there, I believe. But 8782. And it's got the interesting flashy neon, so I thought you might quite like to see the neon doing its flashy thing. So there it is. Would you like to see the neon doing its flashy thing? You would. I'm sure you would. Right, we will. Right, how can I do this easily? Right, I have to plug CNET back in. This is where we might have a problem. I have to steal a bit of bandwidth. Right, here we go. Right, so I've plugged CNET back in now. That's what I was doing there. I normally unplug CNET. Those of you who have got CNET equipped phones and ATAs and that will know it normally doesn't work while we're on air with this show, and that's because I have to use all the bandwidth to get the show out, basically. But we'll have a go at making this ring, shall we? Right. Let us see if I can do it. Right. What have I got to ring to do it? I know. Right. There you go, flashing neon light. What do you reckon to that? Good, isn't it? Right, I'll hang that up again. But yeah, flashing neon light on that. So that is particularly good. So yeah, brilliant. So we've tried that one. Shall we try another one? Let's have a go with another one. I'll just sort of loop this line code back up, because I get absolutely tangled up in these chords and that. When I do this show, what you don't see is I put stuff down at the side of me, and and like when I get up at the end of the show to go away, I normally end up wrapped around a line cord or something and falling flat on my face. Right, so that one can go back up there for a minute. We have not as yet tried this one. Now this one's interesting because you'll see part of it is Concord blue. Which way have I got to go to get it in the shot? There. You see part of this is Concord blue. And I mentioned this last week and said it's Concord blue, but they didn't make them in Concord blue, these, and I've checked and they did not make them in Concord blue. But the thing is, this particular one was made by GEC, I believe. Yeah, GEC, there look. And when something is made by GEC in the telephone department, stuff seems to turn up that shouldn't exist. So my only explanation can be that GEC used to make them in unauthorised colours, because they've got the moulds to make the thing. All they've got to do is put different coloured plastic in the moulds one day, haven't they? So that is my only solution as to why there should be one. But the guy who had this one before me says he put the grey case on. He says originally it was Concord blue. He says he did this, he changed the case. So I'm assuming what he changed was actually the case, not the handset and this piece. Because it'd be easy just to change the case, wouldn't it? Rather than change the handset and then change this bit. But this bit, you see, even if this came off another phone, where did you get a blue one from? Somebody made a blue one. So is it GEC? That's the question. So who made the blue one? We just don't know. Right, so we'll give this one a ring, shall we? See if we can make this one work. In fact, I'll do it the other way around. I'll go from this one. And I'll see if I can ring the CNET number. Hang on, I've waited too long. It's surprisingly difficult to do upside down. There you go, the phone up there is ringing. So it's working. Cool. So they both work, which is good. So always good when they work, because sometimes they don't. So yeah, it's always good when you get one that works. So they've both been converted. I had to put a resistor in one of them. because it's only got 500 ohm bell coils in it. I did that in the week, but I didn't get around to testing it, which I have now done. So that is good, isn't it? Right, I'll plug that back in where it was. Oh, come here. There we go. That's it, it's plugged back in. Right, what's everybody up to in the chat? Wesley says he's looking forward to the next garden video. Yeah, it'll be coming out soon, Wesley. The problem is, I never get around to editing things. That's the trouble. They sort of stack up and I never get around to editing. Dominic said it was a very good video, that growing potatoes one was. Any ideas on what dish you're going to make with the potatoes? No. Probably chips. I'll probably turn it to chips. Wesley says he's never seen those operating before. I assume it means the neon lights. No, I had a feeling people wouldn't have seen the neon lights. Quite rare, the handsets with the neon lights on. Used by the BBC quite a lot, because in studios obviously you don't want the phone to ring, so they had quite a lot of generally grey ones. I think they had some black ones as well, but generally grey ones with neon lights on. And they basically disabled the bells or turned the bells off somehow and just had the lights flashing. Dominic says, does the neon light click when turned on or off, like old car indicator lights do? I seem to recall a similarly equipped handset with a bell on-off switch clicking. No, not that I've noticed anyway. It doesn't. It flashes in time with the ring, so it's the ring current that makes it flash. So basically, if your phone doesn't click when it rings, it doesn't click when it lights the neon either. Dominic says he reckons that's a brick phone part. They made replica keypads. You reckon that blue bit on here is a brick phone part, do you? Right, okay. How do you tell a brick phone part from an original part? Is there a way of telling in the casting numbers and things? Is there a way of knowing in the casting and that? And did they make these 12-digit ones? These 12. Did they make these 12-digit keypads, or did they only make 10-digit ones? I don't know. But if it is a brick phone one, it's been around a while because it's kind of lost its shine. But that'll be awfully disappointing if it is a brick phone one. It's interesting though because it has got a Nottingham phone number in it, this, and brick phone do come from the Nottingham area, I believe, don't they? So I wonder. Now, I'm seeing something on it now that you probably can't see. It's definitely the case on this phone that's changed. It's definitely the grey case that has changed on this. So it probably was a blue one at one time, whoever made it blue. Because, although you probably can't see it, I can see it in the light. But I can see very faintly a round mark round here where it's had a dial bezel, where it's had a round dial bezel. Can you just see it at the top there? Can you see something there? Yeah? Is it showing up there, and maybe on this side as well? Don't know if you can see that, but I can see it quite clearly in certain lights. Right, so Dominic suspects it's a brick phone bezel. Interesting. But with GEC, you see, did GEC make them in different colours? Because it's possible. And I have got a 706 in Concord blue with a keypad on it as well, and it's a really, really weird phone, that one. Dominic says, as far as he knows, only grey and ivory are official keypad surround colours. Yeah, I agree for the GPO, but did GEC make them in all the colours of the rainbow for anybody else who wanted one? That's the question, because I've got a feeling that may be a private one, even though it's got GPO markings on it. I think GEC probably put GPO markings on every phone that they did, and then some of them went to the GPO and some of them didn't. So I've got a feeling that may be what happened, so I don't know. So we need somebody who worked for GEC basically in the 70s and 80s to tell us the answer. But it's an interesting one. I shall probably leave it as it is to now. It's fairly low priority to do much of anything with it, that other than perhaps connect it up and use it. It will probably stay as it is for now, that until we find out more information and stuff. Another one of that batch last week that I do want to get going, and hopefully I will be able to get it going tonight, is this. It looks like a 706, but of course it's not, because you do that with it. It's one of those. Now, last week I said we'd got a strange number under here, and there. It's basically tel/1k/ATS, and I found out this week that again this is a GEC code for their own telephones, and the ATS is automatic table standard. So that's the code they put on a phone when it's sat like that, on a 706 type phone when it's sat like that. But bearing in mind it's a very simple conversion to make it a wall phone, then I think this was probably privately sold by GEC, which adds weight to the thought that maybe it was for London Transport or somebody like that, because they had a lot of these upside down phones, as I call them. Because all you do to make it an upside down phone is you fit this this chromey bracket so that the handset will fit like that, and you just turn the dial upside down as well. That's all you do to change it. So I thought that tonight we'll have a little look at this and we'll see if we can get this going, and see what it does. Now the dial on this is very, very slow, so I thought this would be a good example that we could do something with on the old dial. So we will get doing that basically right after this. See you in a few seconds. And we're back. You see, I have to do that occasionally, because if you're not watching live, that's where the adverts will go if you're watching it pre-recorded. Right, I need to go and find some oil, because I am pretty sure we're going to have to oil this in a moment. So I'll just go and grab some oil while you marvel at the splendour of this bright red telephone. I'm back. That didn't take long, did it? Marvellous. Here we go. Right. Oh, the organ boy has joined us. Hello there. He says the neon light phones were used in courtrooms also. Cardiff Crown Court certainly had them. Still in the 1990s. Right. Wesley says I'd have agreed with Dominic about that keypad surround being Britphone, being a Britphone remake, but he can't see the Concord Blue keypad bezels on Britphone's website. What colours are on there then? Maybe they just run out of Concord Blue ones, and that's why they're not on the website. I'm sure if they're on in other colours, they probably did them in Concord Blue. So we don't know if it's genuine or not, that blue phone. The plot thickens. If anybody knows, out there, get in touch with us on the old website, andyshed.corepress.net, and send us a message on the contact us form on there. If anybody happens to know about GEC and what colours they made push button phones in. Right. Shall we crack on with this? So what we're going to do today, if we can, is we're going to take this apart, and it's not in bad condition actually, this, but the dial is very, very slow, as you can see. So we're going to fix that dial. It's a dial 21. It's a bog standard dial 21. It's just upside down. So for anybody who doesn't know how you fix a dial 21, we'll give you a bit of a lesson. So first thing you do, normally there's a dial opal in the middle of here you have to pull off with a sucker or a bit of sticky tape or something, and then the dial label, and you would take that out. You would have a label, normally something like that one in there, and you would take that out. Then you undo this screw. I'm sure most of you know this already, and then you can take off the finger wheel. Then you take off the little spring thing, and then this should fall off. And the easiest way to do it is to turn the phone upside down, give it a bit of a shake, and it'll fall off. There. And we're greeted here, actually this is quite a nice one, because it's a pretty much all metal dial. A lot of them have got plastic bits in, and some of the later ones are almost completely plastic, but this is a nice one. And we've not got a date, have we, on it, because of that funny code underneath, but that is a very nice dial, that. And again, the surround on this is held on the old-fashioned way. This is a back painted piece of clear plastic which is held on the genuine way with a metal ring inside the phone. And you can just see the little bits of the ring, that little claws of the ring that come through and hold it on. It will become apparent when I take the case off how that works. So to get the case off, we undo the two screws up here, because it's a 706. Right, they're still talking in the chat, of course, about these brick foam bits and pieces. Wesley says they do everything but Concord Blue, and he says if it's out of stock it usually says so and allows you to subscribe for a notification when back in stock. Right, so maybe it is genuine. That means I've got to find a Concord Blue case if it's genuine, doesn't it, to make it a fully Concord Blue phone again. Right, so top is off that now, and it's interesting. There's a resistor down there, and as far as I know, that's a bit of an odd place for a resistor, but it's a bit of an odd phone. It has got the regulator board in, like all 706s do have, but it's not a standard regulator board. It's just one of these half boards, and if I take it out, it's only got on it one resistor, but it is marked 1A Gen 1 on there, so we know that's probably the original regulator board that it had in it. So I'm going to put that back in, and it's got the thing working in service at the moment, that. So I'll leave it in service. It's very difficult to do this upside down. I have sympathy for the people that used to do the makes on Blue Peter, and I had to do it all upside down because it's really not as easy as you might think. Right, so what is going on? Well, I converted it. I think I did some of this conversion work last week, didn't I? There is a resistor in there where there should be. It's all converted properly by the looks of it for plug and socket, although it's not actually got a line cord fitted at the moment. But apart from that, it's all converted. But let's see if we can sort this dial out. So what we have to do is take this screw out here, or just loosen it. Actually, don't take it fully out, just loosen it, and then that makes the dial all floppy. Should do, and there we go. The dial is out. So I can now have a look underneath, and sure enough, it's 500 ohm bell coils. I mean, that's upside down to you, but I don't know if you can read it or not. 500 and then an ohm symbol. So I've done right by putting the resistor in. Right, so I've got to put these little tabs here back into these slots here for the dial to go back in place, like that, because we're going to do most of what we do on the dial from the front here, I think. Right. The big problem with them is normally this clutch mechanism here. This thing with the big plastic sort of cog on the back and the little one on the front. They should turn independently that way, so you should be able to turn it that way without the back one moving, but when it comes back they should both have to move. So if I wedge the back one a minute, can I turn it without the back one moving? The answer is yes. If I got my fat fingers out the way, you'd be able to see it even. Right, so I've wedged it now, so hopefully you can see that. turning without the back one turning, and if I take the screwdriver out, whole lot turns to go back. And that's basically the slipping clutch. That means you don't have to turn all the mechanism of the dial when you dial. It only all turns when you let go and the spring drives it. Right, so what is happening, it's all running a bit slow, it's all dry as dry in there, it's not particularly dirty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a few drops of oil in various places, like on this clutch mechanism. Now I do tend to over oil things a bit, and I do it purposely, because they've not had any oil for a lot of years. So what I tend to do is over oil things, leave them for a couple of days, use them for a couple of days over oiled, let the oil work in, and then come in and take out the excess. Because it's not just a light oiling that you're wanting to do, it's a fairly good oiling that you're wanting to do, because everything is just so dry and that after lack of use for so many years. Now I've got to put this back on, remembering to put it on upside down. I'm just putting the finger wheel back on just so we can work the dial now. It's had a bit of oil into it, you see, so just put the finger wheel back on and the screw. Don't need to put the rest of it back in there. I just need to put that back on, and it's already going a bit better. And basically you're working it, and you're just trying to work it to get the oil into all the bearings and things. So you just have to keep going with it like that, and it will go a bit faster. And sometimes you can sort of help it back a bit if you want, not too much, but you can. I mean, that's kind of the speed we want it to go, isn't it? 1001. That's what we want it to do. Right, might need a bit more oil somewhere. What are people saying in the chat? Dominic says, is this going to go in the war phone section of the loft? Yeah, probably, Dominic. I've run out in the war phone section, I've run out of space, but yeah, it probably will. Penfold 50 says, what type of oil are you using? Right, Penfold, I'm glad you asked this question, because there's a lot of old nonsense put around about oils. Basically, you need to use a light mineral oil. So don't use any of this modern stuff and that. And don't be fooled by these people selling clock oil, who will sell you a tiny little vial of oil for about a tenner. Because clock oil is fine, basically, if it's from a reputable source, but clock oil, you can put that in a wristwatch sort of thing. This is nowhere near as fine a thing as a wristwatch, so the oil doesn't need to be that thin. So just some reasonably thin mineral oil, and a reasonably thin mineral oil is 3-in-1 oil. Now 3-in-1 oil is a brand name. You can still get it, at least here in the UK you can, don't know about other parts of the world. You can still go and buy 3-in-1 oil. It's about £4 or £5 for a little bottle like this. Right, I think we're back up, everybody. Right, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted by everything crashing around here? I was talking about oil, wasn't I? Yeah, basically 3-in-1 oil is a thing to use. A light mineral oil, which 3-in-1 oil is. But 3-in-1 is a brand name. This is Wilko's own brand stuff. It's about half the price of 3-in-1 oil. And you can get it from any Wilko's or Wilkinson's shop here in the UK. If you're not in the UK, something similar I'm sure is available in your country. Probably 3-in-1 oil, because I think 3-in-1 oil is an old brand all around the world, I think. So that is what I'm using basically, and what I'm going to do, I just want to dribble a bit of this oil in the back of this dial, because I think the spindle that goes front to back of the dial might be a bit dry. So I'm going to take this dial off again and just unclamp. So you can't see what I'm doing, can you? But unclamp this ring thing here a bit. Then that ring will just slide off. Then this will just pop off. And then what we want to do now is in there, under there, where the spring and that is, and the whole thing goes through here, we want to do the bit of oil in there. I'm conscious now that we've come back and there's a bit of a weird delay and we seem a bit out of sync somehow. I'm just looking at the syncing. So I've just drizzled a little bit of oil down there, so it hopefully goes under the spring and through into the front. Again, I over oil it a bit to start with, because we want to get the oil soaking in there, because it's not had any on it for so many years. But put that back on now and put this back on, and remembering that we've got to do it upside down. So something like that. So I need to tighten that clamp up again. Oh, I've not got it fully on the clamp, have I? So we'll undo it again a bit. And that clamp's got to go right up. Right up there, like that. Right, just making sure it's exactly opposite where it would normally be, because there's a little hole. Normally there's a little screw that goes through there, and there's a little hole in the plastic there for it. So I want that hole there, that at 90 degrees to, I mean at 180 degrees to where this little cutout in the metal is for it. So, and that should then put everything in pretty much the right place. So we'll do up the clamp, and then hopefully we can put this back in, and it'll sit back in and back in there. Hopefully we're in about roughly the right place there. We'll find out a little later. I'll put the finger wheel back on again, and again we try it then just to see what happens. Dominic says, what's the date on the back again? It's interesting, it's a Mark 1 base. Not got a date on it, Dominic, because it's not a GPO phone. It's got a code for that I've found out is a GEC code. I think it's GEC, but it's not actually got a date on it at all. So there's no date on it, so we don't know. Unfortunately, we've got no idea what the date is on it. Right, so how are we doing? Still a bit slow, but it is getting better. One 1001. 1001. Yeah, it's better. It's getting better, but it's not that much better. So what we'll have to do now is try and sort it out a bit if we can. Right, so what the other thing you can do is the governor here has got two like wings with little brass weights on the end. If you can bend those inwards slightly, the wings on the governor, you should be able to speed up the whole thing. And you only have to do it very, very, very slightly to make a difference. So I've just basically pressed on it with a screwdriver. The easiest way to do it is with a very narrow pair of needle nose pliers. But I've just pressed on it with a screwdriver. That might be enough to do it for what I need to do. So let's see how fast it goes now. No. Right. We'll take it apart again, and I'll see if I've got any pliers lurking. I've got a box of bits up here, just a second. Yeah, I've got a pair. These might not be small enough, but we'll have a go. So I'll just get in there and just try and tweak those governor arms a bit. Have I overcooked it now? Possibly. Let's see what it does now. 1001. 1001. That's better. So now we've got it going at about the right speed, and generally, particularly when you're coupling things up to CNET, generally a little bit too fast is better than too slow, in general, for the dials to be running. So we'll now put our dial plate back in. We'll then put our spring thing back on, which only goes one way because of that raised bit there. And once that spring thing is back on, I can then put the actual dial back together. And that should do it. Now what I've got to do now is try the case, because the case has that cutout there, and what I've got to make sure is that that cutout there is lining up with that on there. If it doesn't, then I've got to slew the thing around a bit, and it does line up by the looks of it, so that looks like that's going to be okay. Right, so take the case off again a minute, and I'm also going to take the finger wheel off again, because it'll be a lot easier to put the case on if the finger wheel's not on. This is something where American phones beat British phones hands down. The way the case actually fits over the top of the phone. So much better on American phones. Can anybody tell me, are things a bit out of sync at the moment? Are my lips out of sync with the sound at the moment as I speak? If I clap or something like that, was that out of sync? What is it saying? Does the governor need adjustment? Yeah, that's what I've just done, Wesley. Maybe you typed that before I did it. Yeah, I think you did. How is it mounted to the wall, says Penfold. Right, I'll show you that in a minute, Penfold. Right, what we need, first of all, is a line cord. And unlike a proper wall phone that is wired up, I've not got a spare line cord here. Right, okay. They're all up in the loft, the spare line cords. So I can't do it. I don't think I've got one lurking in one of these drawers. So we might have to finish it off next week, when I've had a chance to go in the loft rooting around for a line cord. So I don't think we've got one in here. No, we haven't. I'm pretty sure. No, we haven't. So I have to go rooting around in the loft for a line cord, find a line cord out of the loft, and then we'll finish it off next week. Penfold says, yes, it is out of sync. I thought it was, Penfold. Thank you for that. Right. We may need to disappear again just for a couple of moments. We will be right back. I've just got to reboot the system and I'll be back. And we're back. If you're watching this after the event, it's like, well, like nothing happened really, isn't it? Yeah, sorry, I just had to reboot all the computers and that here, because it was, after that last reboot, it all went out of sync, which it does occasionally. There is an offset between the sound and the pictures, because sound travels at different speed to light. Because that's my theory. and there's an offset that you have to set up in the software that we use here, and set the offset up. But the thing is, some days it's different to other days, that offset. So you've not necessarily set it up right. So yeah, Dominic says it's in sync now, or at least it's closer to being in sync than it was before. Yeah, it looks better at my end as well, Dominic. So, where were we? We were doing this phone, weren't we? I will get through this. I will get through this eventually. So we were doing this. So this is what we were up to, and we just put all the dial on and back together, and that hadn't we? We got it running at the right speed. And I was looking for a line code for it and realised I hadn't got one handy. So we'll stick a line code on it in the week, and then we'll give it a test next weekend. But for now, let's see if it all goes back together. Now I've messed the dial up. So remember, on a 706 there's two little feety type thing there. Oh, where is it? There. There's two little sort of lugs there that fit under the front here. So you have to put the thing on from the front like that, and then put the back down. And this is where it's difficult if you've left the dial finger wheel off. If you take the finger wheel off, it goes on a lot easier. Says he's still struggling with it. That's it. It's on. So that's gone on there. All nice and level. Put the little chrome screws back in. And of course this one doesn't want to go in for some reason. So undo that one a bit again. Sometimes you do have to do a bit of jiggery pokery with these. Nope, does not want to play the game, that. Right, let's take it out again. It's one of them days today. Do you ever have one of those days? Eh? Did you ever get one of those days? I get them all the time. Right, let's see. Can't get it off again now. What the hell's going on here? They are definitely undone. Right, something has gone wrong here somewhere along the line. This is what I say. These British phones, getting the cases on and off them is terrible. They are a terrible, terrible design, and didn't get any better with the 746 either. Do it with an American 500 phone, and the case, you can just throw the case on with one hand onto an American 500. It's so much better than these British ones. That still doesn't want to go on. Right, let's have a look here. Now, definitely undone those. Now there's the screw hole I'm aiming for. What's happening under here? There's the things that should go into the screw holes. It all looks relatively okay. Let's try it again. Oh, now that seemed to go on a bit better that time. But of course it's not. Will that one go in? Yeah, that one goes straight down in. So what's wrong with this at this side? Nope, not gonna play ball. And of course, because it's retained this screw, absolutely terrible this. Because the screw has a silly retained nut on the back of it. Right, I'll take this whole bar off a minute. And then, now I've taken this off, let's see if we can fit this without the rest of the foam. So it would normally go like that. See, and that screws in there. And that one screws in there. And that's easy, so that's proved that the threads are okay, hasn't it? Yeah. Now you normally can't do this because on this little chromey thing, this chromey bracket, the back side of this bracket, these little legs down here are normally bent under the case. So without bending them straight again, if that makes sense, these legs here, without bending them straight again, you can't normally get them off. But of course this one is straight. Anyway, so I've probably never been bent when it's been fitted, so I can just theoretically, I've got to put the front end in first. That's it. And then theoretically they should just pop in. Right, this is where it gets a bit tricky. There we go, it's in. Right, shall we try this again? Right. Nope, won't go in. That one will go down, but this one won't go down. Now, you tell me why that is. And because you can't lift it out because the retained nut thing on the back, you can't lift it out and have a look down the hole. So awkward. So awkward. Does anybody else have bother with these? Penfold says, so glad it's not just me who has problems putting on the cases. Yeah, this one's particularly bad, Penfold. Really bad. Is that? Screw does not feel like it's going straight down to me. And there's no wriggle room with it either. Oh, it nearly went then. This is going to take hours and hours and hours. This is the kind of stupid, frustrating thing that give the GPO and British Telecom a really bad name, because it's designs like this that are so poor. The American 500 phone absolutely wipes the floor with them. It's absolutely perfect, that is. I'd have 500s over these any day. I would always have a 500 series over these. Always. I'm going to try undoing that a bit, like that. We know it's in line. On there, like that. Yeah? Right. Talk amongst yourselves a minute. Normal service will be resumed just as soon as I've thrown this out the window. Right. And still, it just will not go down. Right, take that retained thing off the back. Now I see the problem. The case isn't level. It needs to be more like that. So I'll now put the retained thing back on there. That. I think that dial needs to come round about 1 millimetre. Remember that screw that I put in here to do that clamp up? Let's undo that. Let's bring this dial round here about 1 millimetre, that's it. And I have a feeling that's going to make all the difference. See, the American 500, the dial bezel stays on there and it's much easier to fit as a consequence. Right, so we put all this now back together again, like that. Put that back on there. Right, you see how much easier that went on? Still don't want to do up though without me pressing that down, but as soon as I press it down, I wonder if this is a repro case that isn't quite right. It's on. Right. Okay, so note to self, don't take that off again. Right, now I've done that, what's everybody saying in the chat? It feels like about an hour since I looked at the chat. Dominic says the worst case for fitting seems to be the compact phone. Yeah, you have to bend that. You do actually physically have to bend that one to fit it on compact or a Jubilee phone. Penfold says it took me over an hour once to put on my 741 case. Yeah. Dominic says, I worry whenever I reassemble my Diacon case, as the on-off button makes it difficult to fit, and I hope I don't crack the case each time I put it back on. Yeah, I think that's what happened to a lot of them, to be honest with you, Dominic. I think that's what happens to the Diacon ones. I think they have that exact problem that you're talking about, and that's why so many of them are broken. But imagine how difficult this would have been if I'd got the finger wheel stuck out on there as well. So now let's put this finger wheel back on. Just give it a quick polish on. Quick polish on the leg of my trousers. There, it's a little bit better than it was. Right. So remember, it's upside down. So it goes like that. The dial's slowed down again through all this. I will swear like a trooper. So be ready for it. Got to take it off again to put the line cord on there as well. Right. 1001. That'll do me. Right. We call it that. Done. Yeah. As Scout Crafter would say, we're calling that done. Brilliant. Marvellous. I hope you've all enjoyed watching me struggle with that. Yeah. It was a struggle as well, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Right, so that is now done. It's all back as it should be. So that hangs on the wall like that. Now somebody was saying, how do you fit them onto the wall? Basically, what you do is knock the feet out, and that leaves holes. And what you normally do officially is you knock the front 2 feet out, and then you can hook it onto one of those T-bracket things, and you leave the back 2 feet in. And they just sort of rest against the wall then, the back 2. So you normally the back 2 feet in, it rests against the wall, front 2 on one of those on hooks or on one of those T-bracket things. This has got a strange little bracket here, which I'm not sure what it does. That's got a hole in it, this little bracket thing. Yeah, I've never seen one of these before, and I'm wondering if that is designed to fit the bottom of one of those T-brackets. I don't know, because you normally put a screw in the bottom. I'm wondering if it's designed to do that. But basically, yeah, knock the front 2 feet out. If you've not got the T-bracket, and you want to hang a phone on the wall, one of these, just knock those front 2 feet out, 2 nails in the wall, and just hang it on there. But then you can lift it off. It's not permanently attached to the wall then either, which it would be permanently attached, of course, if it was on a T-bracket. So there you have it. There is this upside down 706 clone, and I'm sure it'll make quite a nice phone when we finally get it finished. When do we finally get it finished? When being the operative part of that. Right, okay. So I'll put that back in there where it was. Marvellous. Right, great stuff. So there you have it. That is that phone done. Penfold says, has anyone seen the plastic T-bracket somebody is selling on eBay? Yes, I've seen them on eBay, Penfold. I don't think they're original. I think they're just something that he's designed, the guy that's selling them. I've never seen a plastic one in service. I'm fairly sure they wouldn't be up to GPO spec. Jimmy says, watching you, I'm sometimes tempted to take the case off my 706 and have a look, but I've decided against it. Yeah, don't do it, Jimmy. Dominic says, is the Sheffield Steam Rally easy to access by public transport? Good question, that, Dominic. I don't know. There is a bus that runs past the end of the road, but I'm not 100% certain. Shall I see if I can find a website for Sheffield Steam and see what it says? How about that? Let's have a look, see if we can find a website for it and see what it says. Right, talk amongst yourselves a minute. I'm just looking. Right, you know something, I can't actually find a website for them. Only a Facebook page, which is a bit pants. Right. I'm looking to see if I can find anything about it. I'll tell you where it is. It's at Rackford Road in Northampton. If you want to know where it is. It's 4 miles from junction 31 of the M1, and it's on the A57 going towards Worksop. Now, if you got on the A57, if you got off a bus at Plaxton's, what used to be Plaxton's Coach Sales, you'd have a very steep hill to walk up, but it was kind of walkable from there. But I would advise you, Dominic, to Google Sheffield Steam Rally and see what details you can find, because I'm just having a quick look and I'm not getting a website up for it. So I'm not entirely sure if it has actually got a website. Interesting. Maybe it hasn't got a website. It has got a Facebook page though. So if you go onto Facebook and type in Sheffield Steam and Vintage Rally, you should find the Facebook page, and it's a lady called Bev Beat that runs it, and her family. If you get in touch with her, she should be able to give you all the information about how to get to it. But I don't know about public transport to it. That is something I will have to find out about. But well done for reminding me about it, because it is of course one of the events on our diary for this summer. There it is, Sheffield Steam Rally on Saturday and Sunday, the 26th and 27th of June, and the following weekend, staying in the Sheffield area, and this one is accessible by public transport, definitely, because it's on a main road. On Sunday the 4th of July, it's the Sheffield Model Engineers Summer Event, basically, at their miniature railway track at Dore, when it's pretty much almost exactly opposite Dore railway station. So if you want to go to that one on the 4th of July, get on the local train that stops at Dore railway station. D-O-R-E is Dore. Get on a train that stops there, and basically you just got to walk across the road and up a very short lane thing, and you'll be there on Sunday the 4th of July. Sheffield Steam Rally, as I say, I'm pretty sure there should be public transport going at least across the end of the little lane that it's on, Rackford Road. But I can't tell you any more about it than that at the moment, but I will endeavour to find out for a bit nearer the time. So if you want to stick those in your diary, 26th and 27th of June for Sheffield Steam Rally, and the 4th of July for Sheffield Model Engineers Summer Event. We'll be at both of them, hopefully. Lockdown unlocking and things permitting, of course. If we're not in another lockdown by then, because personally I have a feeling we may need another lockdown by then. Don't know if we'll actually have one or not, but I think we might need one by then, the way things are going. Dominic says, thanks Andy, if can't get Sheffield Steam, the other one should be very easy to get to at Dore and Totley. Yeah, like I say, Dore and Totley railway station, it's almost exactly opposite it, because that station is kind of a little bit rural, that station, and the track is sort of in the woods opposite it. Quite a nice venue. Right, so that is about it, I think, unless anybody's got any questions or anything in the chat, anything that they want to ask and stuff in the chat. It's alright, I'm just clicking around on the buttons. Sorry we couldn't get the line code on this week, but we'll endeavour to do it for next week and try and get that sorted. There. Where's a little blue light flashing there? What on earth is going on? There are strange things are happening. Yeah, a little blue light flashing on one of the ATAs. And I don't know why, because I've unplugged them all. That can go there in here. That is that. Dominic says, Google says you can get the X5 bus from Sheffield. Sounds possible. That does. Sounds possible. I will double check that for you, Dominic, and I will let you know on that one. Just remind me in the weeks to come, and I'll double check that, and we'll see what we can figure out there. Also, I know these candlestick phones are still here. Restoration of those is going to start very soon, but I've also got some of the very grotty phones still here as well. Who remembers this one? This is a 706 CB from 1960 that we're thinking about turning back into a CB. It's still here and we're still working on it. I'm just looking for an ivory dial blank at the moment, and then we'll have a go at turning that back into a CB phone. And I've still got some very, very grotty handsets. Here's the handset for it, which will be requiring a bit of a clean, I think. But yeah, that'll be getting its clean up quite soon. So I think we've about cracked it for one evening. Now, one other thing that I do want to mention before we go today is that we are hoping that there will be another live show in the week this week. That's what we're hoping. Not sure what day yet, but it will be one evening probably this week. We're going to pilot it one evening this week, but I'm not sure which one. But watch out for another live show one evening this week that will probably come from the loft. So make sure you've got your Google notifications or your YouTube notifications switched on this week, so you get a ping when we come on air. Right, Wesley's off. It says thanks, see you and everyone next week. Enjoy the rest of the bank holiday weekend. I'll try, Wesley. I forgot it was a bank holiday weekend, but yeah, we'll try. Yeah, so yeah, that is about as far as we go. As I say, watch out for us doing another live stream sometime during the week this week. We're just going to have a little test run one evening, so have your notifications switched on. It's that little bell icon thing that everybody on YouTube tells you to click, and I often say don't click it, because if you turn it on for everybody who you subscribe to, and you subscribe to a lot of people, you get a ping 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 and loads of emails all the time. But turn it on for Andy's Shed this week to find out when we're going to be on in the week. Right, that about wraps it up for today, I think. Thanks to everybody for being there in the chat and taking part in that, and thanks to everybody else for watching. I know there are 4 more people watch this than actually take part in the chat, and I know there's quite a lot of people watch it after the event as well. Last week's show didn't go up straight away after the event, and I explain why it didn't happen. It's because when I go off air with this show, YouTube has to process it. YouTube does post-processing. Despite the fact you can watch it live, to watch it recorded, it has to process it for some reason. And the processing takes a number of hours. Alright? Then I have to go in and edit it to clip off the pre-show, i.e. the test card. What do you mean you've not seen the test card? Oh, you weren't watching if you didn't see the test card. Do you want to have a look at it? Do you want to see the test card? If you haven't seen the test card, here's the test card. There you go. That's quite good, isn't it? That almost looks like a proper one. I'm quite pleased with that. But yeah, so you don't get like half an hour of that on the front of the pre-recorded video. What happens is once YouTube has spent 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 hours processing the video on a Sunday night, I then have to edit about half an hour of that off the front of it. Okay? Then YouTube has to process it again. Alright? Then when it's processed it again, it puts in adverts. Bear with me a sec, I've got a phone ringing. No, I've not got a phone ringing. I had a phone ringing, the phone stopped ringing. It only rang twice, and it was a private number. Bet it was spam. So yeah, so it processes once to process the video before I can edit it. Then it processes again once I have edited it. But then it puts adverts in automatically, which I can't stop it doing, and it puts tons of adverts in the first like half an hour. If you watch other people on YouTube, you'll be really, you'll know what I mean. It drives you absolutely bonkers. So what I then do, I then go through and take out all the adverts YouTube's put in automatically, and I put them back in sensible places about 20 minutes to half an hour apart, like they would be on TV. Then it has to process it again, and so by this time it's now processed it 3 times. So what I did last week, I took it down until all that processing had finished and then put it up again, and that's why it didn't come up till about Wednesday. But this week I'll leave it up, but just be aware it's going to have loads of adverts in it probably until about Wednesday. And if you watch it after maybe Wednesday, you'll find the adverts there's less of them if you watch it after Wednesday, basically. So if you're watching live, you're okay. As I was saying, before I got so rudely interrupted by it all crashing again, as I was saying, if you watch on a pre-recorded version of this before about Wednesday, it'll have a load more adverts in than it does after Wednesday, because what happens is YouTube puts the adverts in automatically after the event for the pre-recorded show, and then I go through and prune them basically and take a lot of them out. But it takes me until about Wednesday to do it. So if you watch pre-recorded each week, if you can bear to hang on until about Wednesday to watch it, you'll be disturbed by a lot less in the way of adverts. Right, so that is about it. Sorry, my internet was doing weird things again. That is about it for this week. Thanks to everybody for watching. Hopefully we'll have a few less technical issues next week. But from all of us here for now, remember, if you want to get in touch with us, go here, andyshed.callpress.net. And if you want to support us on Patreon, we might even buy a computer that works. Go here, patreon.com/andyshed. Until next week, have a great week ahead, everybody. Enjoy yourselves, enjoy your bank holiday Monday, but remember, stay 2 meters apart from everybody else. Till next time, see you soon.